Theory Test and the Highway Code by the AA. Read for you by Brandon Rees-Taylor on the Jesse Millette YouTube channel. The Theory Behind the Test. Section 9. Motorway Rules. Learner drivers aren't allowed on motorways, so you can't get experience of what it's like to drive on them until you've passed your test. However, you do need to know all about motorway rules before taking your practical test, and your theory test will most likely include a question about motorways. As soon as you pass your driving test, you will be legally allowed to drive on motorways. You need to know all the motorway rules in advance so that you are confident and ready to cope with motorway driving when you pass your test. There are some major roads and dual carriageways that learners can drive on which are very much like motorways. You may drive on some of these fast roads during your driving test so that your examiner can see how well you cope with hazards at higher speeds. When driving on these fast roads, you will need some of the very same skills that you will need for motorway driving. For example, using lanes properly, knowing when it is safe to overtake, and controlling your vehicle at speed. If you are learning to drive with a driving school, you will have the chance to book a motorway lesson with your instructor after you have passed your test. It makes sense to take up this offer before you drive on a motorway alone for the first time. Motorways and other roads. On a motorway, traffic is moving at high speed all the time. All lanes are in use. No stopping is allowed on a motorway. Traffic only slows down or comes to a stop because of accidents or other types of hold-up. Some road users are not allowed on motorways. These include pedestrians, cyclists and learner drivers, horses and other animals, motorcycles under 50cc, and slow-moving vehicles, tractors and farm vehicles, and invalid carriages. You always enter and leave a motorway on the left via a slip road. To the left of the inside lane, left-hand lane, to the left of the inside lane on a motorway is the hard shoulder. You can see you can only drive on this in an emergency. Special signs and signals are used on motorways. These include signs about the road on overhead gantries, signs on the central reservation, and amber and red flashing lights. Checks before your journey. Be extra careful about doing all your regular checks before you set out on a motorway journey. You cannot stop on the motorway to fix small problems, and no one wants to break down in the middle of fast traffic. Always check oil and coolant levels, screen wash container, tyres and tyre pressures, fuel gauge, that all mirrors and windows are free of dirt and grease, and that the horn works. Many of these checks are legally necessary as well as important for your safety. How to move onto a motorway. Join the motorway by building up your speed on the slip road to match the speed of traffic in the left lane of the motorway. Use MSM, mirrors, signal, maneuver, and move into the flow of traffic when it is safe to do so. Changing lanes and overtaking. Driving on a motorway needs all the skills you have learned about anticipation and forward planning. You should make good use of all mirrors and check your blind spots. Signal to move out in plenty of time. Look out for hazards ahead in the lane you want to move to. Not go ahead if it will force another vehicle to brake or swerve. Keep a safe distance from the vehicle in front. Take a break. When you drive on a motorway, you will sometimes see signs that say, "Tiredness can kill. Take a break." This is very good advice. Motorways are monotonous, boring to drive with long stretches of road that look the same for miles. A major cause of accidents is drivers falling asleep at the wheel. Plan your journey so that you have time to get out, stretch your legs, and have a drink or snack. The rules you need to know. Keep to the left-hand lane unless you are overtaking, and move back to the left lane as soon as it is safe to do so. Sometimes you need to stay in the centre lane for a time. For example, when a line of lorries is travelling up a hill in the left lane. Stay in the centre lane until you have passed the hazard, then signal left and return to the left lane. Never reverse, park, walk or drive in the wrong direction on a motorway. Don't exceed the speed limit. This is normally 70 miles per hour, but lower speed limits may be signed when the road is busy or in bad weather. Keep to the correct separation distance, see safety margins. Don't overtake on the left. If traffic is moving slowly in all 3 lanes, you may find that the lane on the left is moving faster than the one to its right for a short time, or the left lane may be signed for traffic turning off at the next junction only, but these are exceptions to the rule. If luggage falls from your vehicle, do not get out to pick it up. Stop at the next emergency phone and tell the highways agency or the police. Posts on the edge of the motorway show the way to the nearest emergency phone. You should use these phones rather than your mobile because the emergency phone connects directly to the highways agency or the police and tells them exactly where you are calling from on the motorway. Don't stop on the hard shoulder except in an emergency. The hard shoulder is an extremely dangerous place, as many as 1 in 8 road deaths happen here. Traffic signs and road markings. Light signals. In the highway code, you'll find the light signals only seen on motorways. Signs above the roadway or on the central reservation are activated as needed to warn of accidents, lane closures or weather conditions. Overhead gantries display arrows or red crosses showing which lanes are open or closed to traffic and which lanes to move to when motorways merge or diverge. They may also show temporary speed limits. Direction signs. Direction signs on motorways are blue, and those on other major roads are green. Other direction signs are white with black print. Reflective studs. It's useful to know the colours of studs on a motorway. This can help in working out which part of the road you're on if it's dark or foggy. White studs mark lanes or the centre of the road, and red studs mark the left edge of the carriageway. Amber studs are used alongside the central reservation, and green studs mark the entry to a slip road. Note, these markings are also found on some dual carriageways. Using the hard shoulder. Stop as far to the left as possible and, if you can, near an emergency phone. Emergency phones are situated 1 mile apart and have blue and white marker posts every 100 metres. An arrow on the posts points to the direction of the nearest phone. If you are using a mobile phone, you can identify your location from the number on the post. Switch on your hazard warning lights. Use the left-hand door to get out of the vehicle and make sure your passengers do too. Get everyone away from the road, if possible behind the barrier or up the bank. Leave animals in the vehicle unless they aren't safe there. Phone the highways agency or the police with full details of where you are, then go back and wait in a safe place near your vehicle.